She doesn't speak to impress. She doesn't perform to be noticed. In fact, she often says nothing at all, and yet, he feels it. There is something about her presence that holds weight. It lingers. It settles into the room before she even opens her mouth, and when she finally does speak, it's just an echo of what he already felt. This video is about that woman. The woman who doesn't chase. The one who doesn't try to be magnetic, but somehow always is, because there's something rare about her. Something quiet but powerful. And that something isn't found in what she says. It's found in what she carries. In a world where everyone is trying to be seen, she doesn't try at all. And that's why he notices. Stay with me. Because the secret behind this kind of magnetism isn't about charm or looks. It's about energy. It's about presence. And once you understand how it works, you'll stop trying to be heard and start being felt. He notices her before she speaks. Not because she demands attention. Not because she is louder or more beautiful than everyone else in the room, but because her presence shifts something. It reaches into the invisible space and rearranges the energy. She does not need to be the center of the room to be the center of attention. There is no desperation in her, no effort to prove, no performance for approval. She does not need to sell anything, because what she carries speaks louder than her voice ever could. This is not about being cold or detached. It is the opposite. It is a warmth that radiates without noise. It is the way she breathes, the way she moves slowly, the way she listens with her entire body. That stillness, that calm, that fullness creates gravity, and gravity always pulls. He feels it in his body before his mind can process what is happening. His thoughts slow down, his attention sharpens. She has not said a single word, yet somehow she has already entered his awareness in a way no one else has. Magnetism is not about being seen, it is about being felt. And a woman who is deeply connected to herself carries a frequency that speaks to something ancient in others. She does not need to entertain. Her silence holds more weight than most people's words. People lean in without realizing why. He starts asking questions just to hear her speak. Not because of the content, but because of the energy behind it. Her voice is not rushed. Her tone is not desperate. She is not trying to be liked. She is simply rooted. And being around someone who is rooted makes others feel safe. In a world addicted to noise, stillness is power. In a culture obsessed with doing, being becomes irresistible. That is her secret. She is not trying to be magnetic. She simply is, because her focus is not on being desired. It is on being aligned. She is not chasing external validation. She has already given herself internal approval. And when a woman reaches that level of inner stability, everything about her becomes attractive. Not in the loud, performative sense. In the quiet, steady, lasting way. He may not be able to explain why he is drawn to her. He just knows that he is. She makes him feel something different. Something he did not know he was missing until he met her. That feeling is not chemistry. It is recognition. His unconscious picks up on her self-possession and reads it as safety. He senses that she will not need to be rescued, nor will she beg to be chosen. She is not operating from fear. She is not hiding behind charm. She is simply present, and presence is magnetic because it is rare. She is not easily moved by chaos. She does not react to everything. She responds, and that gap between stimulus and response is where her power lives. She knows herself. She trusts herself. She is not loud because she does not need to be. Her energy speaks before she does. And when she does speak, it only confirms what everyone already felt. A woman like this does not fill silence with noise. She fills space with meaning. Her pauses are intentional. Her eye contact is grounded. Her posture is relaxed but alert. She is not guarding herself. She is not exposing herself either. She is simply here, fully, completely, calmly. That calmness is not forced. It is the result of years spent learning herself, healing herself, meeting herself in the dark and learning not to flinch. That kind of emotional maturity cannot be faked, and when a man encounters it, his body responds before his ego can interrupt. He leans in, he softens, he wonders what she is not saying, and in that wondering, he feels compelled to know more. She does not need to convince anyone of her value. She is not performing femininity, she is embodying it. She is not reacting to male attention, she is observing it, and the more she observes, the more powerful she becomes. Because men are not used to that kind of presence. They are used to being either adored or ignored. But this woman does neither. She sees them clearly, without projection, without fantasy, without fear, and being seen like that is unsettling at first. Then, addictive. She may say very little, but when she does speak, her words land, because they are not spoken from insecurity, they are spoken from clarity. And clarity cuts through confusion. Clarity is magnetic. A woman who knows herself changes how others see the world. She does not try to change them. She does not preach. She does not persuade. She just lives her truth so fully that others begin to question their own illusions. She does not have to ask for respect. Her energy demands it without aggression. She does not have to prove her worth. Her presence confirms it. This is not a trick. This is not a tactic. This is not something that can be learned in a weekend or mimicked from a script. This is the result of a woman going inward again and again, until she no longer fears her own silence. And because she no longer fears her silence, others feel comfort in it. He finds himself paying attention. He remembers the way she stood, the way she looked at him, the way she did not flinch when things got uncomfortable. He remembers feeling grounded around her, even if he was scattered before. He begins to associate her with safety, with depth, with something rare, and that association grows every time he sees her, every time he hears her voice, every time he enters her field. She does not speak to be remembered. She does not move to be watched. She simply honors what she carries, and that internal reverence makes others rise in her presence. It is not seduction. It is not strategy. It is soul, and soul cannot be fabricated. It can only be revealed, slowly, gently, through the way she walks, the way she listens, the way she chooses when to speak and when to stay still. He will not say it out loud, but he will feel it every time she is near. He will feel more honest, more aware, more human, because she is not trying to make him feel anything. She is simply allowing herself to be felt. That permission is what he remembers. That space is what calls him back, not to possess her, not to conquer her, but to understand what it is that keeps pulling him in. And in that journey of understanding, he begins to change, not for her, but because of her. If something in you feels drawn to this truth, it's because a part of you already lives it. You may not have had the language until now, but you've always known. This energy can't be forced. It has to rise from within. And if you want to go deeper into this process of becoming, you'll find what you're looking for inside the Jung method. The link is in the first comment. Now, let's return to her. She does not speak to attract. She speaks when there's something worth saying. And when she says it, it feels like the room gets quieter. It's not volume that carries her voice. It's depth. This depth is not about being mysterious. It's about being honest. Honest with herself first, so that when she speaks, it comes from integration, not reaction. There is no performance in her, no projection, just presence. He starts to notice how differently he feels around her. There's no pressure to entertain her, no urgency to impress. She gives him space to be, and in doing so, creates a feeling he didn't know he needed. What he feels is not desire in the traditional sense. It's not excitement based on fantasy. It's something slower, something heavier, a gravitational pull into himself, because she reflects to him a version of reality that is more grounded, more real, more whole. She may not know this is happening. She's not calculating anything. She's simply living in alignment with what she values, and that alone shifts the energy around her. A woman like this doesn't have to speak often to be remembered. He will recall the way she made him feel when she looked him in the eye, when she waited before responding, when she didn't rush to fill the space between questions and answers. It's in these in-between moments that her magnetism grows, not because of what she does, but because of how fully she inhabits the moment. She doesn't disappear when things get quiet. She doesn't get nervous when no one is watching. Her sense of self doesn't dissolve when attention fades, because she was never performing to begin with. This level of self-possession is rare, and that rarity makes her unforgettable. He might not know how to name what he's feeling, but he knows that being near her makes him more aware of himself, more connected to something real, and that feeling becomes something he starts to chase, not because she seduced him, but because she reminded him of something he had forgotten, the beauty of stillness, the clarity of truth, the peace of presence. She's not afraid to hold her gaze. She's not afraid to pause. She's not afraid to let the moment breathe. And that fearlessness does not come from dominance. It comes from self-trust. She knows that she doesn't need to fill the air with noise to matter. She knows that when she finally speaks, what she says will land, because it comes from a place that isn't trying to control the outcome. She's not looking for approval. She's expressing reality, and reality is magnetic when it's spoken without fear. He may never say the words, but she will feel his shift. He will start showing up more often. He will become more attentive. He will listen more closely, because something in her makes him want to rise, not in ego, but in essence. She is not a mirror for vanity. She is a mirror for truth, and truth has a weight that lingers, even in silence. She's the woman who knows her energy speaks louder than her voice, so she protects that energy. She doesn't give it to everyone. She doesn't scatter it across empty conversations. She doesn't waste it trying to be seen, because she already sees herself. And when a woman sees herself clearly, the world around her starts to rearrange. People listen differently. Men feel differently. Even strangers become still in her presence. It's not because she's trying to impress. It's because she's already at peace with who she is. That peace is what he wants to be near. That peace is what makes her magnetic. She doesn't interrupt. She doesn't speak over others. She allows things to unfold. And in that allowing, people feel safe. They feel like they can be who they are, because she's not trying to shape them into anything else. This is what emotional safety looks like. And emotional safety is rare enough to feel like love. But she's not offering it to get love. She's offering it because it's how she lives. It's how she breathes. It's what she becomes when she stops hiding. The woman who is magnetic, without saying a word, is not using silence as a tactic. She's using presence as a truth. She's not trying to be mysterious. She's not withholding to create desire. She's simply aligned. And that alignment speaks to the unconscious of everyone she meets. She's the kind of woman men remember years after they've met her. Not because of how she looked, not because of what she said, but because of how they felt in her presence. They felt calmer, more real, less performative, more human, and that memory stays. It stays when other voices fade. It stays when other faces blur, because the feeling she left behind was not based on stimulation. It was based on resonance. Resonance is the sound that stays in the room after the music stops. And she is that resonance. She doesn't apologize for her stillness. She doesn't rush to prove her worth. She simply brings herself to each moment, fully and completely. And that kind of full presence is more powerful than charm, more powerful than words, more powerful than anything she could try to create, because it's not created, it's allowed. She has stopped needing the world to reflect her value. She reflects it back to the world through how she listens, how she stands, how she breathes. And in that reflection, others begin to soften. They begin to slow down. They begin to feel. That is her impact, not through effort, but through embodiment, not through speech, but through stillness, not through seeking, but through being. And once you understand that, once you stop reaching for attention and start honoring your presence, you become magnetic in a way that no one can explain, but no one can ignore. He will feel it. He will be drawn to it, not because you asked him to be, but because that kind of energy is rare, and everything rare is remembered.